Let's start it off. This is a brisket, okay? This is where it all starts. This is what we're looking for. We order briskets in. Our briskets all come very, very untrimmed and very uncleaned, right? This is the bottom of the brisket, and that's the top of the brisket. Where we source our briskets is a very specific slaughterhouse that gives us a very specific and tight type of brisket that we're looking for. They don't vary too far in size. They look pretty much the same. They're all choice briskets at minimum, to make sure it gets a nice and tender finish. It's not a prime. A prime's a little too much fat content, and we get into that in a minute. But what we're looking for in the brisket, first off, make sure it has some flexibility to it. You should be able to fold the brisket over like this. The hard part about doing that is when they're vacuum packed like this, they don't really fold. So, not a lot of butchers let you go back in their butcher shop and shake their meat. And so, that is one thing you're looking for that shows it's tender, it's properly aged. Number two is we want to look at the color of the brisket and the color of the fat specifically. All the meat color is going to be about the same. It's going to be that dark red, and that's what you're looking for. If it's too dark, it means that cow is slaughtered in an improper way. There's blood rushing to that muscle. It's going to be a tough piece of meat. If it's in this nice, reddish pink color, that's kind of what you're looking for. That's what you want to be. Let's flip it over to the other side and look at the fat. There's one thing that you're looking for, and there's another thing that you're absolutely not looking for with the brisket. On brisket fat, you want it to be white in color, in a nice, clean white. If it's opaque, if it's yellow, that means it's a grass-fed cow. And grass-fed cows don't have as much fat in them, and they don't make good barbecue, right? And so we want to make sure that we have a grain-fed cow with white meat, white fat, and a white fat cap. We use choice briskets, right? We don't use select, that's the lower grade. We don't use prime, that's too heavy. It's too much fat. During the grading process, we're grading cattle. They take the cow, it's slaughtered, it's cut directly in half, lengthwise, right? And then they open the cow up and they look at the ribeye. And that's it. They look at just the ribeye. And they grade the cow based on how much intermuscular fat there is inside the ribeye.
The marble.
And we call it marbling, right? And so you shouldn't do this, but for purposes of teaching people. When we talk about marbling, we're talking about the fat inside the protein, inside the muscle. And this is a muscle of a cow, right? And so when we talk about fat inside of a muscle, like this isn't necessarily the healthiest animal that you've ever met, And honestly, at the end of the day,
I'm pretty healthy.
The less healthy the animal, the better for cooking. If you look at a prime filet mignon, it actually has quite a bit of fat, like within it. And it's supposed to be a totally lean piece of meat. But the higher the grade the animal, the less that animal moved. The less action that had.
How do we see this in the store?
You don't. So they grade it for us, right? And how do we find that? It's going to be printed right here on this plastic edge, right? And that's how we figure it out. They used to roll it with grape juice on the fat part. They decided to stop doing that, right? Now it's like always printed. The grade is printed right here on your plastic on your plastic wrapping. And that's how you'll know the grade. If you want to cook a brisket at home and make it perfect and make sure there's nothing wrong with it, you want it to happen in a timely manner, you can go buy a prime brisket and you probably won't screw it up too bad.
Right.
But for us, this choice brisket is just about exactly what we want to be, and just the right amount of fat, not too much, right?
Correct, yeah.